Welcome, everybody. This is episode 6 of our podcast. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Logan and Trevor.
Hello.
Liz couldn't make it tonight either. She fell asleep. So
Tired again. We're recording pretty late again. Today we're talking about The Conjuring 2. It's another James Wan film from 2016. And,
Damn, it was really 2016.
yeah, it's 2016. 3 years after the first one.
Yeah. Makes me feel like an old man.
For this one, we're going to kind of change up what we do. Normally with this podcast, we talk about the plot for most of it, and then we kind of talk about our thoughts and opinions on it. We're going to kind of change it up and kind of just summarize the plot quickly. Just kind of found that it's a little bit boring, I think, just kind of talking about the plot for most of the time.
Yeah, especially with last week's episode.
Yeah, it was a long one. And also, sorry about the late upload. Normally, we're going to upload Tuesdays. Fifth one's going to be up on Wednesday as we're recording this one. So, yeah. But yeah, I guess to get into it, the movie starts out with the Ed and Lorraine, and they're at the Amityville house, actually. And they're investigating what happened there. If you don't know, Amityville was just like a famous paranormal house that people investigated because Ronnie James DeFeo shot and killed his family in like the 70s.
Blamed it on the demons.
Yeah, said he was hearing demons in the basement.
They're in my head.
Yeah. But, I mean, as they're investigating that, they get introduced, or at least Lorraine does, to the demon that I guess is part of this movie, Valak. It's the nun demon.
The fucking nun, man.
Yeah, I'm sure most of you know. She, is like the reoccurring, like, villain, I guess, this whole movie. Or not a villain, but the spooky thing, you know?
Yeah. But I think they did like a cool thing where, they didn't really come out front and say that that's like the main bad guy right away.
Yeah.
Kind of set up like facade bad guys.
But, so they kind of use that as an opening to get introduced to the demon for this movie. The actual movie, though, the bulk of it is made up of the Enfield haunting, which I think is interesting to read up on. I've kind of like looked into it in the past. I think it's pretty cool. But it was another one of the hauntings that Ed and Lorraine investigated. It takes place in Enfield, England, with the Hodgson family. It's a woman named Peggy Hodgson and her 4 kids. She's got 2 daughters.
Margaret and Janet.
Yeah, and 2 sons, Johnny and Billy.
Yeah.
and Janet had like first contact with the demon, pretty much.
Yeah. So I think this one kind of gets into it pretty fast. It's just like typical family things that Conjuring does, or shows them doing like typical family things. And then they start having experiences with it. It starts out with Janet. I think the first thing that happens to her is that she wakes up. She thinks she's sleepwalking, but she wakes up downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In the chair.
Yeah. And,
I think she was on the floor the first time.
Yeah.
But
the haunting at their house is not based around like the demon at first. It's based around a character called Bill Wilkins, who was the like an old man that owned the house previous to them that died.
He like hemorrhaged in the chair.
Yeah, had a brain hemorrhage in this like old leather chair that's in their living room. And yeah, he's like the main person they have like experiences with. He's, I guess, disguised because it's the demon that's controlling his spirit or something like that.
He has him, or Valak has him trapped.
Yeah.
And he's kind of using him as like bait so that like Ed and Lorraine can't really feel a demonic presence, so that hopefully, that they leave and then Valak gets to do the thing that demons do, whatever it is.
So yeah, they just like start having like experiences with it. It starts out with Janet waking up downstairs. There's a scene with one of the little boys, Billy, where it's like one of his toy fire trucks.
Yeah.
That
he steps on it and it goes off and he like turns it off and just fucking like kicks it back in the tent. And then he like walks into his room, getting
like
ready for bed, and then it just comes flying back at him and he's like, oh no.
Yeah.
The fire truck.
It's scary.
Scary, man.
And then I think there's also one of the coolest scenes in this movie is with Janet. She gets sick, so she's staying home from school.
Yeah,
and she's in the living room like watching TV. And this is also based in the 70s. This is based in 1977, I guess.
yeah.
So she's like watching TV on like an old school TV, and the channel changes, and she doesn't know what happens. So she like picks up the remote and like switches it back. Then it changes again, and then she like gets a little spooked because she doesn't know what's happening. And she tries to change it again, but the remote's gone.
Yeah, and then she finds it in the seat where the dude died.
Yeah, her mom calls her, and as she's doing that, she
Yeah.
hangs up, and then she sees it in the seat that Bill Wilkins died in.
Just a lot of reoccurring stuff with the seat. Like,
Yeah, they use the chair as like, that's like the scary part.
but there's also like a lot of other things that are supposed to be scary, like the
Yeah, but I guess like the
toy
chair.
box and
Yeah, the chair is not the demonic like capsule. It's the toy box. But I feel like most of the bad stuff happens with the chair, so it doesn't really make sense why they took the
also
like, weird
the
toy box
facade
and-
demon characters are kind of lame in my opinion. I think that's
I
like
think
a
the
huge
Crooked Man is cool.
distraction.
Yeah, so one of the toys that one of the kids has, I think it's Billy or Johnny, or got which one. He has like this, I don't know what they're called.
It's a Billy, and it's
yeah.
like a music box
Music
kind of.
box, yeah.
It's kind of like that, but it's like it spins around and it animates this like little guy on it with a light that's in the middle.
Yeah,
And it plays like the song about the Crooked Man,
it's like a little rhyme about the crooked
Yeah.
man who has a crooked back and
like a nursery rhyme.
pays a lot of taxes and is going to
Crooked
prison.
life. And,
Yeah.
The film
Wait.
kind of relies on the Crooked Man as like a, I guess, jump scare kind of for this movie. But yeah, but I think I was talking about that experience with Janet in the living room. She sees the remote in this guy's chair. She gets freaked out, so she just like runs over because the TV starts like flicking off her channel, and then it just like is static. So she's like trying to fix it with the antennas on top, whatnot, and she hears something behind her in the chair go, "This is my house."
Yeah, it's because she like knocks it and then the TV turns off and you can see like the old man in the chair behind her.
She looks over and
She's like,
like,
"Oh,
scared.
oh, no one's there. Oh no."
And then a face appears behind her of like the old man Bill Wilkins, and he's like, "This is my house."
This is my house. Get out of me house.
I feel
Shuts
like there
her.
were a lot of jump scares, but there were only like one good one,
Yeah,
pretty much.
I do like. So I mean, I do like the beginning of this movie, or I guess like most of it. I do feel like this movie kind of starts falling off towards the end.
I thought it was pretty bad for the start, and then it kind of got good at like the last 20 minutes.
I do think there's a lot of good scenes in this movie, especially with like. The
Oh, there's
singers and whatnot.
fantastic scenes.
Some of them I enjoyed more than the original movie, but I do feel like overall, this movie definitely fell short.
I feel like it's because they're trying to jumble like 3 different bad guys.
They're just
Yeah.
putting too much into it, and they got confused.
Should have just focused on one
Mm-hmm.
instead of trying to make the story like super convoluted, making it kind
Yeah.
of distracting because you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, I feel that. Because I guess it's kind of confusing because you're supposed to be dealing with the person who, the actual haunting is based on Bill Wilkins. Because if you read up on the Enfield haunting, that's kind of who it's based around, an actual guy named William Wilkins, who died in that house previous to Peggy Hodgson owning it.
Yeah.
In a chair that was in the living room. That's why they keep using that chair in the movie to kind of portray that. This movie, I do feel like more than the first one, tends to stray way further away from the actual true events of it.
No, man, what are you talking about? Everything that happened in this movie is real.
Yeah,
It's based off a
100%.
true story, man. Can't be wrong.
I got some stuff in my notes. I thought it was like just cheesier, less scary, and more predictable.
Definitely is cheesier. I wouldn't say less predictable. I feel like,
No, more predictable.
or yeah, more predictable.
Definitely.
I feel like it's about as predictable as the first one.
I just kind of feel like it. This and the first one are basically the same movie.
Yeah,
I thought the first one was really good, but this one was like, oh my god, it fell short.
but yeah, I mean, so the family keeps having experiences with this like Bill Wilkins ghost character. The mom also starts believing them because she like goes to help the girls because they're scared of something, and she sees a dresser get pushed in front of
yeah.
her towards a door that closes it. Scares her, and so she asks for the help from the cops, and the cops show up, and they also see a fucking chair
Yeah, like
That's-
slides and goes back to the dinner table, and they're just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think I can help you with this."
Yeah. So they tell her they suggest to her to get help from the church. The cops tell her that they can help her get help from like a priest or something.
Yeah, I also don't know what they expected the cops to do about ghosts. It's not like that they can shoot the ghosts.
Yeah, maybe they're gonna arrest the ghost.
They'll try.
I mean,
No, they won't. They're British cops.
I
Yeah.
don't think they hold guns, actually. They hold, like, batons and get angry.
Yeah, but this leads to the press getting involved because a person hears about the report, like a reporter. Forgot what his name is in the movie. He's a semi-important character.
Something gross.
Let me look at
Wait,
it.
no, that's not the reporter. That's the doctor.
Maurice Gross.
He's the doctor, not the reporter, dude.
Oh, I forgot. I don't know.
Either
So-
way,
One of a reporter
There's a
guy.
lot of characters.
not really an important character. Let's just put it that way.
So he hears about the report from the police. So he goes to interview Peggy Hodgson about it, and she's like, doesn't want to because she doesn't want the press getting involved and invading their privacy of their family. So she tells him no, and he's like, well, if you agree to it, this is like probably your best chance of getting help. So
Is
she
this the
does agree to it.
same doctor from the scene where, like, Ed and Lorraine are on, like, Jimmy Carson or whatever that talk show is
I forgot.
and just arguing with him? Is it the same
No,
guy? Or?
I don't think it's the same guy.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
So I mean, after the press gets involved and they're trying to investigate this, obviously it implies that like a lot of time has passed, and then we see like what's going on with Ed and Lorraine, and they're doing a interview for a TV show,
Yeah.
where they're talking to a guy who's like a skeptic. I forgot he's like a scientist. He works for like some society of psychiatry and something else. I forgot. Yeah. So
Also not an important character.
yeah, not really important.
He's just there to tell them that they're liars.
Well, and that was at the start of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was like totally at the start of the movie.
Either way, not really important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the press is like investigating the family, and they get proof of it where they're like, there's a scene where they're interviewing Janet, and it implied that a lot of time has passed and like they had more and more experiences, and so
Yeah.
Janet tells them in like this interview that they're doing where they're recording her that it speaks through her sometimes. The spirit does, or Bill Wilkins, I guess.
She talks in the evil voice.
Yeah, so like takes control of her while they're interviewing her, and it starts like speaking over her and just like says like messed up shit. Like he says, she says, whatever it is that tells him who he is. He's like, my name's Bill Wilkins.
And I'm 72 years
Yeah,
old.
I'm 72 years old.
And I died of a brain hemorrhage.
Yeah, in the chair in the corner.
And fuck Bill Wilkins, dude. Bill Wilkins a pussy and lets the fucking nun take advantage of him. Like, how you gonna have a nun demon? Isn't that, like, against demon code?
Yeah. I don't know, man. You're a corrupted nun, I guess.
But, like, wouldn't you lose, like, the nun get up, you know? Like, dye your hair
That is
pink
true,
and
like,
put it in a
wouldn't
mohawk.
the like presence of a nun be intimidating to an evil presence, right?
That's
So
what I would think.
That wouldn't make any sense.
Not if a nun lost her virginity. That's how you become an evil.
But still, the imagery of a nun, like that would be intimidating to an evil presence, right?
You
I
would
don't
think
know.
so, because it's the image of, like, a holy, like, being.
Yeah, but
Or,
I mean,
like, a saint, whatever
I think
are
they only
called.
just use like the nun demon just because like nuns are like somewhat, I guess, scary, shrouded in mystery. I mean, I don't really think so. But
Yeah, they're not really shrouded in mystery, man. But I mean, like, I guess.
yeah,
I guess they can be evil, and, you know, like, an evil nun's kind of spooky.
yeah. So anyway, press gets all this like information, these recordings of the kids, obviously, and so they show it to Ed and Lorraine, and so they're asked to come help them by a priest through the church. And that's when they show up and they fly to England to go help this family.
Yeah.
And yeah, they I mean, it's kind of just a basic Conjuring movie, I guess. It's sort of the same formulaic thing from the first movie, where they get there, they get a bunch of stuff to start investigating and getting evidence. Obviously, creepy stuff is happening.
And Lorraine says, we don't want to get invested in this, because she's, like, worried.
You're gonna die, Edward.
You're gonna die.
My name's not Edward.
But then they do get invested in it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a crucial part of this movie, I guess, towards the plot, that they have to get the name of the demon in order to help exorcise it out of the house. And there is Easter eggs throughout the movie that I kind of figured out after I watched it, to where you can see the demon's name in the background in some scenes.
Huh.
There's like a scene when Ed and Lorraine are at like their dinner table talking to each other, and you can see letters behind Ed that spell out Valak.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I also wasn't really paying attention, man.
Yeah.
This movie didn't capture my attention for too long at times. Only when, like, shit was happening.
Yeah.
And I feel like shit was constantly happening, but at the same time, nothing was happening.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. Because I don't even remember what the fuck happened to make Ed hit his head. When did that happen?
To make
Ed didn't hit his head. It was, like, steam blew out.
Oh, okay. Because
He
I
did
didn't
hit his
even
head
notice that happened, but he had
He
like
did hit
some
his head?
kind of like mark on his face at the end of the movie.
He did hit his head on something. I forgot what it was.
Fuck, dude. Yeah, that's where I don't remember anything.
Oh, no, it was because, so, it's like towards the end of the movie, and they go in to try to help the family, because, so, I mean, it gets to the part towards the end of the movie where, like, they're trying to help the movie, or help this family exorcise this demon or whatnot, and they need to gather evidence to do it, and there's, like, a skeptic that joins Ed and Lorraine that comes from the church that they need to verify that everything is happening is real. And she sets up a video.
Oh, fucking Anita, the bitch.
Yeah, so she sets up a video camera that's pointed towards the kitchen of the family's home. And on the video camera, she records, because there's like this scene where Janet is like acting like she's possessed and she's in the kitchen, and a bunch of stuff starts flying around, like tables and chairs, and just ruins the kitchen.
She's just sitting there just chucking shit at the walls, and
Yeah, and
somehow an 11-year-old girl picks up a table and chucks it across the room.
And the video camera Anita set up records her doing this, and so it's basically like proof that it's a hoax, that the kids are just up to all this stuff. And so Ed and Lorraine have to leave because they can't get like permission from the church to help this family if it's proven to be like a hoax.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. And then as they're like leaving, then they find out like, oh, the demon was just using Bill Wilkins as like a...
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
That's
Bill
'cause-
Wilkins is a code talker.
Yeah. Well, so the demon was using the spirit of Bill Wilkins as like a way to hide itself.
In riddles.
Yeah.
And that all stems from Ed, like, putting up his luggage on top of the train, and it falls, and then, like, the two tape recorders fall in an X shape, and he's like, oh my god, Lorraine, we have to listen to these.
It was ridiculous.
So then he plays one, and it's like, go!
Yeah, but he hits his head because after they find out about that, they rush back to go help the families. They're like, oh my god, we need to help him now. And, like, then shit starts really happening, and, like, fucking Janet becomes possessed. She's, like, fucking floating in the air, and, like, fucking throws her sister against the wall and whatnot. And as Ed gets there, he, like, tries to walk into the house, and the door's locked, so he, like, breaks into the window. And he tries to, like, get in through the window, but fucking Janet throws, like, a couch at the window, and it hits him in the head, and he falls back.
Yeah,
that's
what
how he got that mark. Okay.
Yeah.
I also want to point out, too, that when they're on the train, and then they play those two, like, tape recorders together, and it's like, it won't let me go, or something like that, then
Yeah.
Ed and Lorraine just kind of look at each other, then, like, Lorraine flies back in her seat and just has, like, a brain blast, and that's when you find out that, like, Valak's in control of everything, and it's like, fuck you, bitch, you didn't know.
Yeah, so it's because, like, to gather evidence, they also interview Janet, and so, like, when they do, Bill starts talking to him as they're, like, turned around, because for some reason Bill won't talk to him if everybody's looking at Janet.
Well, he did earlier.
Yeah.
Which
So
was
that's
weird.
So, like, fucking, Ed starts interviewing Bill or Janet, whatever the fuck. And on it,
Bill
he
Annie.
starts saying, he's just like, let me go. Something like that.
Let go. Let me go.
Says some type of riddle.
And then when she's like in the kitchen, like
Yeah.
throwing shit everywhere, they find her like all contorted in like a cupboard, and then it says the other half of it.
Other half of the riddle, and when they played them together on the tapes, it says, "It won't let me go."
Which I don't know how this man figured this shit out from the tapes falling on the ground and falling in an X shape. He's like, oh my, you have to mix them together.
He's a messenger of God, man.
I mean,
everything's a sign.
He is Mr. Fix-It-All. He just knows the solution to every problem.
He's a plumber. He's a carpenter.
Yeah. So this movie ends pretty much with, like, they return back to the house, and they're trying to get in, and so they break down, or Ed walks in through the basement door, and Lorraine's like, no, don't go, Ed. I don't want you to die. Because she had a vision earlier in the movie of Ed dying, which is why she didn't want to investigate in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ed gets in there, and then, like, Lorraine's, like, trying to go after him, but she can't get through the door, so she asks for the neighbor's help to, like, break it down.
But it's like a wooden door, man.
Yeah.
It can't be too hard to break down.
And as this is happening, like, she's trying to find out the name of the demon so she can, like, have power over it. So she just yells into the sky, pretty much. She's
What
just
is
like,
your name?
What is your name? She's like, wait, I remember your name. You told it to me. And she
I
had, like,
wrote it in my Bible.
and she had, like, a fucking clairvoyant episode during the Amityville House investigation.
She's just stabbing the Bible.
Yeah.
And she just finds it and just starts scrolling through it. And she's like, oh, Valak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now she has the name of the demon, so she walks back in to the house and goes after Ed. And as he's, like, Ed's in there, he has to, like, break through the floorboards in the house because, like, the door's locked. So he, like, gets up through there, and that's when he gets hit by, like, steam in his face.
And it makes him go blind for a little bit.
That's,
Yeah. And it, like, blinds him, and so then he can't really see really well. And so he's, like, walking through the house trying to find where Janet is. And, like, the demon's following him. Or the Crooked Man, I guess. Now the demon's in the form of the Crooked Man.
Yeah, which I don't understand why it's in the form of the Crooked Man when, like, they already know that it's, like, masked its identity and the demon should know.
Yeah.
This whole movie's, like, fucking just weird, man.
Yeah, but then eventually Ed gets upstairs and he sees Janet in there and he's, like, trying to help her. And then she's just standing in this room in front of this window and the fucking glass in front of her just breaks. And then she's, like, about to, like, walk down and kill herself, but Ed catches her before she does. And he's, like, hanging by, like, a curtain. It's on the wall, and he's, like, slowly starting to slip. And this is, like, the vision that Lorraine had of Ed dying.
Yeah,
So,
falling through the spike.
yeah. So she runs up there to go try to help, and when she walks into the room, she's, like, sees him, and then she, like, walks over to try to help him, but then the demon sees her, and she, like, fucking throws Lorraine against the wall. Yeah. And she's like, I know who you are, demon. You are Valak!
And condemns her back to hell.
I
Yeah,
condemn
she's
you
like,
back to
you are
hell."
Valak. She says something like, you're like the Marquis of Snakes. Some shit like that.
You are a snitch-ass bitch, and I am here to
Yeah.
send you back to hell, demon.
Talking mad shit on this demon.
And then Valak's like,
And just kind of implodes into the wall.
Yeah, Valak gets roasted too hard and fucking just gets condemned back to hell.
yeah,
And
just
Lorraine
shamed, man. Like,
saves him at the last
Yeah, and
second.
right as Ed's about to fall down and die, she, like, fucking saves him at the last second, pulls him up. So her vision doesn't come true. Because she's just kind of stupid. But yeah, then it ends like a typical fucking Conjuring movie. Everybody's happy, everybody's, like, all good and everything now, and Ed
oh
and
man, I
Lorraine
just
are all
have
like,
thousands of dollars of repairs to do this house on this house
Exactly.
because of you fuckers
Yeah.
breaking my floorboards. You know how much that's gonna cost me.
I feel
Oh,
like
it's in the name of your daughter. You know what? Let my daughter jump. I'll catch her.
there were a lot of weird scenes in this movie that made me think, like, goddamn, Ed and Lorraine just are manipulative people that just play on others' emotions.
yeah, so
They're a bunch of weirdos.
They're a bunch of weird people, dude. Playing Elvis for those kids. Like, that song, that's not something you sing to kids.
So if you look up the actual case of the Enfield haunting, in my opinion, it wasn't as, like, cool as something like the Perrin family haunting. At least I didn't think it was. Like, a lot of the evidence or photos they have from it, you can like look them up, and there's one where the actual Janet is
Yeah.
like supposedly floating up from her bed, but it just
Yeah,
kind of looks like she
levitating.
jumped.
No, she just straight up jumped off her bed and they took a photo and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
she's levitating. We'll get them this time, guys.
It is one of the most famous like haunting cases in England, but I just don't think it's that great. And also, obviously, Ed and Lorraine Warren were involved with it, so it eventually got fucking published into a movie and a book, probably.
Yeah.
But I feel like anywhere they went was just kind of famous, whether it be like Amityville or the Parent Family or the Enfield House, whatever it is.
I've also realized that, like, Ed and Lorraine Warren are fighting demons on the daily. Like, they're just out here fist fighting with Satan himself. One of these days, man, you know,
Squaring up with Satan.
Satan's gonna unleash his hell fury of demons upon us, and Ed and Lorraine are gonna come back from the dead and save us.
Yeah. I guess when the fucking apocalypse happens.
Oh,
Hopefully
yeah.
they're still alive. I mean, they aren't. I think Ed's dead. Lorraine might still be alive. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then we talked about that on the last podcast, but I'm still not sure.
You know, one of them's dead, one of them's alive. That's all I know.
They might both be dead. I don't know.
I mean, they are like 90 years old, man.
Yeah, it was a long ass time ago.
Because if you assume they're like in their like 30s in 1970, you know, they got to be up there by now. Like at least 70.
I think they're probably older than that too. Or at least I know one of them's dead. So, yeah.
But like also, why take the like music box when you can take the couch?
Yeah. So like the common thing with all the Conjuring movies is like they always take like the conduit that the spirit used to take back to their haunted museum. And like the first one, it was the music box that the little girl April had.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's
Which that one makes sense though.
yeah. This one, it's not a music box. We're just calling it a music box. I don't know what it is.
It's like something you want, like press play on and it plays a rhyme
yeah,
and it spins and you see like the crooked man
it's got like a light in the middle
evading
of it.
taxes.
And you look
stuff.
through the side of it and you see like this animation playing of the crooked man.
Yeah.
But that's what they take as like the thing that was used as a conduit, even though it wasn't really even used that much. The crooked man was used in the movie a lot more, but that actual thing wasn't.
No, not at all. I mean, they did have that one scene when it started playing by itself in the tent.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, that was, like, all the spooky stuff that happened with it.
I feel like the true conduit in this movie was Ed's fucking painting because it brought fear into Lorraine's life.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the true conduit in this story is underage smoking.
Yeah.
Nothing was going wrong until that girl took that cigarette.
Janet's a sinner.
Big Tobacco just wanted you to watch this movie. Yeah.
This is what happens when you smoke cigarettes under the age of 21.
get
You just
possessed.
fucking start flying around and,
Yeah.
like, your family hates you,
Also,
you know?
you know, one really weak part of this movie too is like in the first one they had to like exorcise the demon and everything, do a full on exorcism. In this, they didn't really do that.
They just kind of fist fought with the demon.
Yeah, Ed just like goes to try to save Janet, and fucking Lorraine walks into the room, and she starts just like she just says the demon's name.
You know,
And
that
says
is
I
fair.
condemn you back to hell, and that's the whole exorcism. Then the demon disappears.
Yeah, there
That's
wasn't
it.
really anything after that.
Very, very weak ending. That's honestly, I feel like the worst part of this movie was like the ending of it.
Dude, I thought
It's so
the
over dramatic,
whole
it's so
movie was
quick, and it just like there's so many plot holes.
But it really happened.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's based on true events.
All true events that happened.
Yeah,
Yup.
and it really happened. There's proof.
Dude,
I
oh
guess.
my god.
You can ask Ed and Lorraine Warren. They'll tell you.
I guess I should say too, so I said we were going to do the full Conjuring series, meaning next week we would be doing the Conjuring 3. We're not going to do that. We're kind of fed up with possession movies at this point.
Watch like 3 of them
We
basically. in a row.
will get to the Conjuring 3 at some point, just like
Maybe.
not like next week. Yeah, maybe. The Conjuring 3, I'm just going to be honest, is just not good.
No,
It's
Conjuring
definitely the
3 is-
weakest of all the movies, considering that this one also kind of sucked. So,
When I first saw this movie, I thought it was really good.
Oh, man.
But
I
I
think
guess
there's
that
cool
was
scenes.
like little like 18-year-old me being spooked by, you know, scary ghosts.
I think there's cool scenes in this movie. It does have a lot of the magic that I love with James Wan.
Yeah.
James Wan films.
Like, it's
just,
still a good movie. It's just, it's pretty boring.
I would
yeah.
have watched that like 3 years ago. I think I would have liked it more, but
I think if I haven't seen it, like, 5 times, it would have been good.
that was my first watch, and I thought it was like a 2.5. Man, it was
I'd give it like a 5. Just because I do like some scenes in this movie. It's just, fuck, man, it falls off so hard.
I'd
Falls
give it
off
a
so hard.
I'd give it a 23.
Out of 10.
No, man.
Oh, that's
It's just
true.
a
So what
23.
are we going to rate it? What's our rating system for this?
1 out of 10,000 sexy vampiric Valaks.
Or what about 1 out of 10 sexy Bill Wilkins?
No, man, I feel like 10's too low a number.
I don't know. I mean, Bill Wilkins, he do kind of got it, though.
I'd give it a 69/420.
nah, dude. 2.5 out of like whatever rating system.
I'd say a 4 out of 5. 4 or 5 out of 10 sexy Valaks. Or Bill Wilkins, whatever.
Billac. Mix Bill Wilkins and Valak together and you get like an unstoppable being of sex magic.
I guess Valak did kind of do the fusion between Bill Wilkins, like Dragon Ball,
Did they do the dance or did they have the like earrings though? That's the question.
Oh, they did the dance because it was temporary.
Fair.
Yeah.
I guess she also did the fusion with the Crooked Man too, man. So are they all? Did all 3 of them do the fuse? I don't know if that's possible though.
Talking about it though, the Crooked Man, although I think he's a cool character, does make this movie feel like super, super cheesy.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very cheesy and like.
I remembered the Crooked Man being claymation, but no, he's just poor CGI.
Also, the first time you see the Crooked Man like come to life is kind of cool because like
He comes from the dog.
yeah, Bill or
Baron is the dog's name.
no the kid's name that
Oh,
Bill is it Bill?
it's Billy.
Billy, yeah, Billy. So he sees the dog at the neighbor's house because they're staying at the neighbor's house because they're all scared. And so he sees their dog. His name's Baron because he hears the bell on the door ring because they taught their dog how to like ring the bell when he needs to go outside. And so he sees the dog laying down. He like walks over to him and he's just like, Baron? And then the dog just transforms into the Crooked Man.
Baron?
Yeah.
And he opens the door and he's like, go outside, Baron. And then it's like, and it's just the Slender Man.
Yeah, he says, Autobots roll out. And then he fucking transforms into...
I just think it was like.
Awkward placement for like
Oh, yeah.
screams and awkward placement for like dialogue and like the jump scares were bad. There was like one good jump scare.
I feel like the later half of this movie got rushed super hard. At least that's what it felt like.
I feel like the whole thing was pretty rushed.
I
Compared to
think,
the first one. The
I mean,
first
I
one
feel
was
like the
alright.
opening scenes that you get introduced, like the family and the haunting and all that, is kind of cool. But I feel like there was just too many rush scenes that kind of came past it. Things like
That-
the Crooked Man.
It's the Spider-Man 3 syndrome, man. You just have too many villains
Yeah.
Yeah.
to portray in
Too
2
many
hours.
characters as well. Like, you don't really tend to give
Yeah.
a shit about anybody in the movie except for, like, the Hodgsons and
Baron.
Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Baron as well because he's a good boy.
Oh, yeah, the dog, too. Dog killed it every
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Great actor.
I had too many kids. I don't give a fuck about your kids.
There is, like...
I
So,
do think
most
this-
of the kids didn't really make an impact too, or I guess not most of them, but it was just like Janet and Billy that were like the important kids. The other ones,
Exactly.
like Johnny, not really in there much.
Johnny says like 2 words and then just disappears.
The older
comes back to
sister
Sam.
Margaret is impacted by Janet, but
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
high together. Then
well,
they
and
started,
she
like,
got
flying
yelled at
around.
when Janet was being possessed by Bill or fucking Valak or whatever.
Whatever one it is.
Yeah, 2.5, dude.
I do like the
bad.
scene where like Janet's homesick. I do think that's like the creepiest part of the movie.
I do like the scene too where she's like sleeping, and so she like she thinks she's sleepwalking, so she ties herself to her bed to make sure she doesn't like go downstairs again. And there's like a scene where she like, because she's tied to her bed, she like fucking melts through the floor, I guess, and then she's like on the roof
Oh yeah,
downstairs
dude,
in the
she's
living
doing
room.
some magic tricks.
Yeah, the demon's making her do something, and then she's like on the roof, and then she sees Bill Wilkins sitting in that chair. She gets all scared, but she can't do anything. She can't move, and then he just like gets up and he starts walking up the stairs all slowly,
Just laughing.
and then she morphs back into this like one room they had that they hung up a bunch of crosses.
Oh
in.
yeah, and then the crosses did the scary cross.
Yeah, they turned upside down.
Yeah, that means it's bad news.
Yeah, and then Bill Wilkins starts like chasing after her while she's in there.
And he starts like dancing around her.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, Bill, stop! You're too funny." And he's like, "Ha ha ha! I got more jokes for you!" And just fucking winds up and clocks her.
Yeah, like a cartoon.
Yeah.
All that happens. That's in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he like, the mom like opens the door and is like, "Bill, are you in there?" And he's like, "Yes, I am." And shuts the door and starts dancing again. You know, doing his little happy British man jig.
I mean, I do feel like Bill Wilkins as like, I guess, a fucking ghost or spirit, whatever it is kind of cool. But it's like Trevor said, there's too many goddamn characters. You got like Bill, you got Valak.
You got 3 different Billies.
Yeah, that is fair, man.
William,
I also think
Philium.
I also think there's 2 Peggies too, because I think the mom's name is Peggy and the neighbor like wife is Peggy as well.
God damn.
Because when they were going into the house, like towards the end of the movie, she's like, "Hey, go to Peggy's, guys. I need to get Janet. Go to Peggy's." And I was like, "Wait, I thought you were Peggy." So maybe she has a different name, or maybe they're both Peggy.
I don't know.
Also, from what I'm aware, the Enfield house is still like a thing, and I think you can go visit it. But I don't know if I'd want to, because that just kind of seems boring to be
I'm gonna
honest.
go
but
fucking pick on Bill. Call him an
Yeah.
old geezer.
I mean, he is an old geezer.
You know, how come nobody ever thought to scare the demons more than they're scaring you?
I mean, isn't that kind of what they do? Though? Because they're just like scared of like any holy thing. That's why they hold up like crosses to them.
But what if you act more demonic than them? You start like slicing open like newborn babies, like eating their flesh.
Then you just go to hell and become a demon.
But like, do you think it would make them be like, "Oh, maybe I should stop messing with you"? Probably.
I don't know, man.
Because if you act more demon than them, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you outrank me. Time to go home."
Yeah.
And then you go confess to your priest, and it's all good.
You know, I will say though, talking about the movie, although it is a very weak Conjuring movie, I do feel like the movie's kind of held together by Peggy Hodgson, or at least the actor that played her.
Yeah, she's
Felt like she
Very
did
good
really,
actor.
really well.
Or actress.
Obviously, Patrick Wilson as Ed Warren too, fucking great. Same as,
Patrick
like-
Wilson's just a good actor in general, man.
Yeah, it's true.
I feel like even at moments he was like looking at the director like,
Yeah, like,
"Come on, man! Like, fuck! You're just giving me some weak shit to follow, and now I have to like fucking keep this together."
yeah, like that.
I
Brad
mean, it was
Pitt
probably
movie.
locked into the Conjuring contract though.
That's what I'm saying.
Or not
Like,
Brad
it was
Pitt.
kind of just a bad movie. in my
John
opinion.
Travolta was the guy I was thinking of, like the meme from Pulp Fiction where he's like holding the towel and he's like, and that's the face that Patrick Wilson was making.
Imagine John Travolta was in this movie.
Dude, he was. He was the crooked man. Couldn't you tell?
Oh yeah.
Samuel Jackson played Janet.
Oh, dude, that would have been sick. That would have been way cooler.
It's like Snakes on a Plane, but it's like Ghost on a Plane now. You know?
Get these motherfucking ghosts out my motherfucking house.
Yeah. Dude, that would have been awesome.
Dude,
that would
yeah.
be sick.
And then he turns into
honestly.
Mace Windu and cuts it in half with his
Oh.
purple lightsaber.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, Christopher Lee comes out of nowhere and is like Count Dooku, just flying around. Then you get fucking... dude, they should have just made this a Star Wars movie. Let's be honest here. This would have made a pretty good Star Wars movie.
It's called The Conjuring: Revenge of the Sith.
The Conjuring Revenge of D's Nuts. D's Nuts is the new Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're not
You know-
talking about the movie so much, but really, this movie did kind of suck. I mean,
It was way better when I first saw it. Like, back
Yeah.
in 2016 when these kind of movies were still spooky. But after seeing so many possession movies in my life, it's like,
I do love some
They're
of the
not
camera
spooky.
work. I love some of the scenes in this movie. Just ultimately, it flops so hard. especially with the ending.
I would like to eventually see how like the original Exorcist holds up, because that's like the possession movie.
That's true. I do know the Exorcist was like the one movie when I was a kid that actually like I just couldn't watch it. I'd turn it off every time because I got too scared.
See, my stem of scare from the Exorcist came from that maze game. You're just like focusing.
Oh
on it.
yeah.
You get to the end and it just pops up and you're like, oh, okay, that was scary.
Pretty much.
I feel like that would get posted on like social media as like a 90s kid thing, even though it wasn't the 90s. It's early 2000s.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the 90s. I remember that stuff back in like 2008.
So what grading system are we going to have for this, huh? Is it going to be sexy Valak, sexy Bill Wilkins? Or how many Bill Wilkins nipples?
Oh, that's
Out
a
of
good
10
one.
would you grade this?
How many good boy barons? 10. I like that one better.
Does Baron ever come back to life after he gets fucking transformed into the crooked man? I don't know.
They weren't paying him enough,
Yeah, I guess.
so he decided that it wasn't worth his time anymore. Not enough dog bones,
So we're talking about like a whole dog.
Yeah,
How
a whole
many-
good boy,
Oh, dude, like point fucking
It's out of like 10, though.
Yeah, out of 10.
out of 10. So
Yeah.
it's 10 dogs then.
It's 10 good boys.
10 good boy Barons.
Like 2,
Or you know what? Yeah. Which
Yeah.
body part of
Yeah.
the dog would you give this movie?
like a leg.
A leg?
I don't know.
I'd give it a paw.
I do.
Well, actually, a paw's too adorable. I'd give it like.
I mean,
the
I feel
booty
like
hole.
2 might be a little low. You got to remember, we're probably going to watch some really, really bad horror movies, and I feel like this is not as bad as it'll get. I
But
mean,
at least
for
those
sure.
ones will probably be for like comedic value. This was supposed to.
Well, for sure, the Curse of Humpty
Based
Dumpty
on
was
true
worse than
events.
this.
Hey, we're not even talking about that movie.
The Curse of Humpty Dumpty was 100% worse.
Don't
than
speak
this.
that name around here, man.
Dude, that one's so bad. Yeah.
What movie? I don't remember that movie.
Oh yeah, I just kind of wiped it from our memory.
I would give it like a 6 out of 10.
I'd give it a kidney.
I give it a 5.
I'd give it
5
a
out of
stinky dog fart.
5 out of 10 stinky dog farts.
I'd just give it like a kidney. I'm going to the kidney system.
Kidneys. Well, a kidney is like worth like $50,000.
But Good Boy Baron, it's his kidney.
Dude, that's definitely worth like 1.5 million. Then we're talking about Good Boy Baron here.
Yeah.
We're talking
but,
about how much
it
dog
doesn't-
organs are
you
worth
don't
now?
You don't get the whole dog. You just get some of it because it wasn't enough. We're not eating this dog, are we?
I don't, dude. I'm completely detached from what you're saying now. We're
I lost the analogy.
we're using dog organs to judge.
Can we just go back to the 1 out of 10 ratings?
That's what we were going to. You were saying that you're giving it a kidney.
Yeah, I'm a 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10.
They gave it like a fifth of the effort they needed.
How
But,
many?
like,
but
they
how
gave
many?
it way too much time.
How many Humpty Dumpty's dumpies did you give the Curse of Humpty Dumpty?
Oh,
I think we gave it like a 4.
dude, that movie was better than this one.
Whoa, hell
I
no.
I think I gave it like a 1 or something, or like 0.5.
This Humpty Dumpty was definitely not better than this movie.
No. I'm sorry, you're crazy if you thought this was a worse movie than that.
I don't know.
This
man.
movie actually had stuff happen.
I was too hyped for this one. The hype just fucking fell apart.
Well, that's your own fault then. You were hyped for a movie you already saw.
I haven't seen this one, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
I haven't seen the first one, and then when we watched it, I thought it was good. And this one fucking blew, dude.
Yeah, I really don't think this movie was like too bad. It definitely got boring, and it's definitely not as good as the first one. I give it like a 6.
Well-
6 out of 10.
6, I give it 5.
6 out of 10 billion nipples.
Bill Wilkins nipples. William Wilkins.
We're just gonna keep going off about
Oh.
dogs and nipples.
The
We
Bilk
should-
Man.
I feel like you're going off on that. Maybe you should just give it an actual score.
Dude, he's the Bilk Man.
Yeah.
Like the milkman, but Bill.
But I kind of thought you said Pilk Man, like Pepsi milk.
No, he ain't that cool. Milk is way too cool for Bilk.
All the G's know what I'm talking about. Pilk, yeah.
Pepsi milk.
Yeah, man.
Dude,
You
it's
never had a pilk before?
You take a glass of milk and
You
put a
didn't know
Pepsi
pilk
in it.
was a thing?
It's actually not too bad, man.
I don't know.
I've tried a lot of shit, but what?
This man has put gummy bears on a quesadilla before, but yeah, he's judging me for some pilk.
It's creamy cola, man.
I haven't actually tried pilk, to be honest.
I have.
But some people seem to like it. I think
Pilk
it's
is
kinda
pretty
wild.
good, man. You gotta get the ratio right, though, or else the milk will curdle.
Should we try pilk for the podcast?
Hey, man.
I mean, it's not horror related, but it kind of is.
I'm always
It
down
sounds
for
like
an
it
ice cold glass of pilk.
Ruin my stomach.
But you don't know until you try.
Yeah, dude, we still got so much time to record, but we could cut it off at any point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like we have anything else for this movie to talk about.
You know,
I think we got it all out of the way pretty much. We could just
who would win in a fight, though? Between, like, the Bilk Man or the fucking slender tall boy?
Slender
Tall Boy.
versus...
No, not Slender Man. Slender tall boy. Slender Man's a different thing.
I don't know who Slender Tall Boy
The
is.
fucking dude with the cane.
Oh, the Crooked Man?
Yeah, him.
Okay, the Crooked Man versus, like, Valak?
No, not Valak. Just the fucking old man.
Oh.
The Bilk Man.
Crooked Man.
But they're both Valak, technically. But,
But, like, we're cutting Valak out of the situation. Because, you know, she was condemned back to hell.
I mean, the Crooked Man. You know, Bill Wilkins is like...
I don't know, man. Bill Wilkins made it,
He's an
like...
old man.
He's an old man.
But
he can't move
Crooked
good.
Old
Man.
men are intimidating.
Yeah, but he's like an old dead man. Fucking Crooked Man's like a made-up character who's like 8 feet tall.
Has
How do you know-
slicey,
how do you
And
know
like,
the Bill
has like
Man
hook
ain't 8
hands
feet
and
tall?
stuff.
How do you know the Bilk Man ain't 8 feet tall?
Bill Wilkins definitely ain't 8 foot tall.
What if he's like, you know, like Goku kind of, just hiding his true power?
Go Super Saiyan Bill Wilkins.
Yeah.
What if Bill
Super
Wilkins isn't
Saiyan Bill Wilkins versus Ultra Instinct Goku. Who wins?
Bill Wilkins for sure.
All right.
Yeah, I think we're done with this podcast. We're not
Well,
even talking about it anymore.
I have one more thing to do. I want to shout out our friends over at the Takes It Took podcast. They also review movies, not necessarily horror movies, but they go more in depth on like a film standard with talking like how the shots were filmed and what makes them cool compared to other things.
Probably have more film knowledge than us.
Oh, by far. I think they were talking about how they like are all like film school grads,
Oh.
which is cool. And it's always nice to, you know, have friends that are doing the same stuff as us.
So next week, I think we were gonna do The Conjuring 3. We're gonna do Evil Dead, I believe.
Yeah, the original one. I
Yeah.
think it's from 1980.
So I think we're gonna do Evil Dead, then Evil Dead 2, and then we might do the Book of Evil, or I mean the whatever it's called,
Army of Darkness.
the Army of Darkness.
The
My
Book
bad.
of Evil. That's Blair Witch 2.
Whatever it is. Army of Darkness. I don't know if we're gonna do the third one after the second one though. I guess we'll see.
Like the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see as we go. You
But
know,
for
we're
sure
still
next
figuring
week-
this out.
Yeah, for sure next week we're gonna be doing Evil Dead. So yeah, stay tuned
Also,
for that one.
want to shout out, me and Logan just posted another song.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be coming out. Logan made the artwork for it. It's called Nugget Who Cried Wolf. And we
It's
both,
pretty spooky, man.
we both put a lot of effort into it. Hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
But,
No.
yeah, I think that's about it. Ain't got
Yeah.
nobody else to shout out for the moment.
But yeah, make sure you follow those guys at the Takes It Took.
Yeah. Shout out Tony Hawk, just cause.
Shout out the Bilk Man.
Shout out Pilk. Trevor hasn't tried it yet, but he doesn't know what he's missing out on. Yeah, you're gonna try Pilk at some point.
I'll try.
Shout
to.
out Tony Iommi.
From Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, he's a great guitarist.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out Ozzy Osbourne. you know.
Shout out Baron.
King Diamond.
Oh, King Diamond.
Um,
Shout out Aqua. You know, they're pretty good.
Shout out Dale Earnhardt, even though
Oh,
you're dead.
yeah.
I know you'd be watching us still.
Rest in peace, the Dalester. I think that's what they call them.
shout out Morbid Angel. We're just gonna keep.
You know, shout out James Wan. He's listening. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. He listened to our last podcast, and he's like, "You're right. I shouldn't have killed that dog, Harley. You're smart."
Shout out John Cena, because I also know he's watching too.
But he don't want you to see.
Yeah. We'll never know he's there, but I know he's there.
Yeah, we should cut it.
You
off.
can't see me.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for
Bye.
listening.
We love you all.